I'm wondering again. Well, no, in part for the first time. Why anyone would need to implant false memories when it's so incredibly easy for them to just wipe memory. And again, I don't want to hurt my brother or sever relations again. I don't want to continue in a reconciliation. But he has stated to me that most of his childhood is a complete blank to him, and now a great deal of his adult life as well. He puts that down to a heart-op, which could be the case. I mean, that could be so. I gather that a lot of memories are lost after heart-ops. I also gather that people who've had donated hearts find themselves with the memories of the donor. Did I upload this one? Because I know I've said this before. That leaves quite a lot of questions for scientists, of course, as to where memory is actually stored. Is it in the brain? Is it in the heart? Is it in the whole damn body? And if else not in the brain, how so? How? Well, there's a huge amount, of course, that humans don't know because we're not as bright as we think. We may or may not be the most intelligent creature on this planet. I doubt that even. But we're certainly not the most intelligent creature in the universe. So there's a lot we don't understand. And science does not have all the answers. And honest scientists, admit that they don't have all the answers. So the topic, anyway, was memory. I've often said, long prior to my brother's heart-op, which is in 2004, I used to say it in a jokey way, that he was born with Alzheimer's. He's not sure when he first remembers my being in his life. Seems to have been when I was about 4 or 5, although he's 7 years older than me. Actually, I have photographs. I do have photographs of a child who appears to be me with my brother when I was somewhat younger than that. Find them and upload them. But of course, if you're told that that is you as a baby or a toddler or whatever, I suppose you're in the main going to believe it. The one I've said I don't believe is the photo in the so-called isolation hospital. I don't think, nor did I ever think, even as a child, that that child was me. However, there does appear to be some evidence that I did have polio, and moreover that I got it from the vaccine. And Freud would say, if you're scratching your nose, you're lying. Actually, my nose has a horrible habit of starting to itch. Even when I'm making videos that are not for upload. And some are not. Memory. Why would it be necessary, as I say, to plant false memories when it is so much easier to simply wipe memories away? Of course, in my life with my father, the memories that are most clear to me are those which took me by surprise. In other words, my father had not had a chance to prepare me for what I was about to see or hear. I think a lot of other memories were partially, if not wholly at times, wiped by him after preparation, i.e. hypnosis, or drugs, or some combination thereof. He did not have a chance to prepare me for what I would hear at Fiona's inquest. A complete line, says Robin Rivers, and nothing else. Yet another Robin, which interested me in the name Robin. And which does not mean that I think all people called Robin are assassins. Still, even though my father did not have a chance to prepare me for what I would hear at the inquest, I forgot everything that I had heard at the inquest until I found the inquest notes, 16 years later. Rather as many people today still believe that Princess Diana died in an accidental car crash, notwithstanding that the jury verdict at the inquest was unlawful killing, and that was as high as they were allowed to go. The judge had prevented them from reaching a verdict of murder. Unlawful killing was the worst verdict they could give, and they weren't allowed to do more than that. And it is the verdict that they did give. And most people today, having been brainwashed by the papers in the years between, have forgotten that inquest result. Just as I forgot Fiona's. My memory returned to what I had heard in the beginning, which was that Fiona had died of a drugs overdose. Not that, in point of fact, no cause of death was ever established. But I went into switch-off mode the moment that I heard my father's voice on the phone. And when I say switch off, not a complete switch off by any means. A suspension of reality, a suspension of belief. I would call it something like a dream state, in which all of a sudden you're kind of floating in this, I've mentioned, fog. I had enough wit about me to ask him questions like, how do you know she's dead? I can remember saying, how can she possibly be dead? She's 27. I had enough wit left to ask some questions. But I then went about my day as normal, until I got to Ellen's home, and we discovered the time discrepancy. And even then, after a moment of absolute horror, I kind of switched off again. Then the inquest, and another switch off for 16 years. Aided, I have to say, by Fiona's mother pushing the notes back at me and saying she didn't want them. Almost anything to do with my father was better forgotten. And in some ways, I wish I had never remembered. I wish that it had not all come back to me. At times, when I turned up this item or the other item in a veritable flood, an absolute pounding of memories coming at me from all directions, just a flow I couldn't deal with. Inundated with memories that I'd suppressed or repressed or whatever. I should know the difference between those two words. I don't think it matters in this case. And in the meantime, I have a brother. I wouldn't say his entire life is wiped from his memory, but Huge, huge amounts of it. And basically what that means is, as I said on a video I think I've just uploaded, my breathing is bad today and it is interfering with my concentration. Also, my dog's paw is hurt and he needs to get to a vet. Asides there. I do not believe in false memory syndrome. I think it is a convenient invention of paedophiles. And now I'm even hearing things like, having just discovered the existence of gang stalking, I'm thinking, my God, click, 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 all of this applies to me. I'm now reading or hearing or watching on YouTube stuff to suggest that we do that to ourselves. Well, excuse me, I didn't write down a false police record, a long list of crimes I didn't commit, and was never tried for, and never charged for. I didn't do that. I didn't put a light bulb in my last dwelling on the staircase because I could not reach it. There is no way I could have put that light bulb in. Things like that. Things where, like, you know somebody has been in because they have done things that you are physically incapable of doing. Why would anyone implant false memories when actually they can wipe your memory if they don't want you to do it, to remember it, or they can deliberately plant memories that will further traumatize you and make you more quiescent, less willing to speak out, or even eventually kill you. I believe that. I am dying of COPD because of the diagnosis of COPD. The moment I read that it was an incurable disease, I gave up. And all the doctors also gave up. They didn't even bother to record the diagnosis. Not properly. So that 3 years down the line, one doctor didn't even know I had COPD. More recently, my new doctor's surgery failed to tell me that I had an appointment for respiratory rehab. So aided and abetted by doctors who don't give a shit whether I die of this disease or not, and have no intention of helping me or treating me, I am letting myself die. I know I am. I have a long list of things I could have done. Now, in the recent past, I've discovered things I could have done. And I'm not doing them. And I think that is because somebody has said to me, your number is up, and I accept that. Maybe I too am programmed to die, having spoken too much.